Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our valued Unifrax distributors and customers. I'm Deb Myers, Global Marketing Communication Manager at Unifrax. I want to say thank you for joining today and welcome you to this virtual event to learn about a new Unifrax product, Isofrax 1400 insulation. Today's webinar is being recorded and it will be available for on-demand viewing following today's broadcast. As you watch the virtual event, please note in the lower right-hand corner, you should see two icon tools. One is to ask a question during the event by typing a question into the question box. The other is a handouts tool to access additional material on today's topic. All participants today are in a listen-only mode. In a moment, I'll introduce you to our two speakers who will present the features and benefits of this new thermal insulation from Unifrax. Following our speakers, we'll leave time for a few questions from our audience. And to make this virtual event more interactive, please watch for a polling question later on in the broadcast. Before I introduce our speakers, some information about Unifrax if you're joining us for the first time. Unifrax is a global leader supplying high-performance specialty products to a broad range of industries. Our products are used in demanding industrial environments to control heat and save energy, in vehicle emission control systems to reduce pollution, and in start-stop batteries to reduce fuel consumption. Our products also reduce the risk of fire in buildings, passenger aircraft, and electric vehicles using lithium battery technology. Unifrax is a global company operating 23 manufacturing facilities in 10 different countries. We have more than 2,000 employees, and we're headquartered here in Tonawanda, New York, which is where I'm broadcasting from, and one of our two broadcast sites today. So let's move on and meet our two speakers. I'm joined today by two of our thermal insulation experts. You'll be hearing first from Jane Webb. Jane is a Unifrax product manager in North America. Jane is also joining us from corporate headquarters in Tonawanda. Jane has a degree in materials engineering and over 20 years of experience in industrial thermal management with Unifrax. Next, we'll hear from Chris McMahon, Unifrax product manager in Europe. Chris joins us today from Unifrax Limited, Rainford in United Kingdom. Chris has worked on a number of projects over the last 6 years, including Unifrax module business development, and our Safil and our Isofrax product brands. So I want to say thank you to Jane and Chris for joining us today. With that, let's get started. At this time, I'd like to turn the webinar over to Jane Webb.
Great, thank you, Deb. Today is an exciting day at Unifrax as we officially launch our Isofrax 1400. Unifrax is proud to be the global producer of the widest range of high-temperature insulating wools. We can offer products of many chemistries and temperature grades. Our strategy at Unifrax has always been and continues to be to provide you, our customers, with the best fiber for your application. As many of you know, ceramic fiber continues to be successfully used in many worldwide applications. But where low biopersistent fiber is desired or required in order to meet a zero classification of some countries, we have a wide range of these products available. And now with the introduction of Isofrax 1400, we've improved the continuous use temperature and the classification temperature of our already proven Isofrax 1260C, and we can now offer you an Isofrax that truly is better than ever. As I said, we're committed to providing you with the best and highest quality products that you need to meet the changing demands of the global market. So what we've heard from you and also from your end customers is that there's been a need in the marketplace for a low biopersistent product with a higher classification temperature, something that could be considered a true low biopersistent alternative to alumina zirconia ceramic fiber, and I'll refer to that as AZS fiber. So basically you asked and Unifrax listened, and now we're excited to have this product for the many higher temperature applications across all markets. A little bit about the commercialization of this new product. Isofrax 1400 is officially being launched today, and as of this launch date, the material will be offered in many blanket and module forms. This new product, with all of the same benefits of our Isofrax 1260C, but also with the higher classification temperature and operating temperature, will replace the Isofrax 1260C blankets and modules. The Isofrax 1260 bulk fiber and the products that are made with the bulk will still be maintained as a part of our low biopersistent product line. So Chris and I are going to speak to you today about these 6 points relative to the new product launch. This is our first low biopersistent product with a true 1400 degrees Celsius classification temperature. Isofrax 1400 also has better thermal stability at the higher temperatures, and that's going to give you a product that you can use with confidence. In addition to this enhanced temperature capability, this blanket also has better strength and better handleability, which is really important. And of course, as a low biopersistent material, this product continues to provide 0 classification worldwide. Finally, and very important to you, is that it offers the same trusted and proven track record of all of our Unifrax insulating products. Isofrax 1400 has a higher classification temperature and shrinkage. This is in accordance with the European norm 1094-1, and you may be familiar with this reference. This particular chart represents the typical classification temperatures of various grades of insulating blankets. So you see the Isofrax 1400 bar to the far right has a classification temperature that's higher than the gray bar, which represents a standard RCF product, and also higher than the low biopersistent calcium magnesium silicate material here shown in green. And what really sets this product apart, and what we really want to show you today, is that it has a classification temperature that's equal to that of an AZS fiber, that deep blue bar in the middle. Another way to support this higher classification idea is to look at the shrinkage curve of the product. You want to look at this when it's exposed to high temperatures over an extended period of time. So Isofrax 1400 has a linear shrinkage that's better than that of an RCF blanket, again, and that's the purple line there in the center. What you want to focus on is look at how the Isofrax shrinkage line trends right alongside that of the AZS blanket down in the lower portion of the graph. The shrinkage of the Isofrax 1400 shows what I would call a more gradual rise, and even at temperatures above the recommended use limit, it doesn't have that sharp catastrophic failure that you would see in some other low biopersistent chemistries. Since the real performance of a fiber is not just based upon the shrinkage alone, I want to move on and talk to you and demonstrate the high temperature stability of this new fiber. Data collected running what's called a DSC analysis will show the temperature where an insulating fiber material actually changes phase and begins to destabilize and fail. And yes, this DSC number can be tied to the shrinkage, but there are other important failure modes in play, and that would include the integrity of the fibers themselves. The DSC curve will show like the CMS fiber to fall sharply and start to melt at 1300. At this point, the fiber becomes sintered. You see the property of creep, and it'll undergo structural changes, causing it to lose its compression recovery and become weak and brittle and crispy. In contrast, the Isofrax fiber is stable at 1400. It does not exhibit this drastic fall off on the DSC curve, even at higher temperatures. So Proof of the structural changes to the fiber can be seen in these magnified pictures. You see the Isofrax fiber in the lower picture maintains its structural appearance at 1300, while the CMS product is puffy and weak, and it shows clear signs of inclusions and devitrification. Unifrax first introduced Isofrax fiber as an improvement to CMS fibers, low biopersistent fibers on the market, to help meet the full temperature requirements of a standard ceramic fiber. So now with the development of the new improved Isofrax 1400 blanket, the use temperature of this fiber has been increased even further to meet the 1300 degree temperature requirement and making it equal to that of an AZS ceramic fiber. Look again at the photo on the right that shows the individual fibers at use temperature. This will show the structural integrity of the fiber is maintained even at the higher use temperature. No breaks, cracks, inclusions, or puffiness. This fiber continues to be stable and the blanket maintains its strength and integrity. So now we've talked about how Isofrax 1400 exhibits a marked improvement in shrinkage and operating temperature versus the CMS fibers, and even as compared to our Isofrax 1260 blankets and modules. But what does this really mean to you, our customers? We now can offer you a low biopersistent product which you can use at those higher temperatures with confidence. It's well known that low biopersistent fibers, they don't have the same high melting temperature of ceramic fibers. And we also know, I hope, that you would never design a furnace using any material of any chemistry right at its melting point. But the higher melting point of the Isofrax 1400 does improve the safety margin of the furnace lining. This is because it increases the temperature where you would see the complete failure of a furnace lining in the event of an overfire. This high confidence level that you get with the Isofrax 1400 ties back to all of those properties that we discussed so far. And with the introduction of this product, we've really effectively increased the continuous use temperature and classification over that of other CMS fibers. But also, we've developed a low biopersistent fiber that truly has the highest melting temperature available. It's my pleasure to discuss with you some of these advantages of the new product. I would like now to hand the presentation over to Chris McMahon, who can provide some additional information on the Isofrax 1400. Chris?
Thank you, Jane. I would now like to talk about the tensile strength of the new product. Customers have told us that Isofrax 1400 is easier to handle, cut, install and make modules. Why is that? Well, the tensile strength of the new product has been significantly improved compared with the previous version of the product, Isofrax 1260, as can be seen in the chart. We now have a stronger blanket for conversion processes and final installation. Now, let us talk about the health and safety compliance of the new product. All current Unifrax low biopersistence fibers have passed the NOTE-Q exoneration test for low biopersistence. The tests were conducted by qualified independent laboratories, and Unifrax low biopersistent fibers are therefore not classified as hazardous and do not require a hazard label. Many of you listening in today will know that Isofrax has been the class-leading low biopersistent thermal insulation on the market since it was launched 18 years ago. Isofrax has a proven track record. We can provide a number of references for Isofrax thermal insulation covering a wide variety of applications in industries such as steel, aluminium, ceramic and chemical processing industries. The new Isofrax product may still be used for the same applications as before, but now also the higher temperature applications where only 1400 grade RCF AZS fibre was previously deemed appropriate. The growing number of application stories and references for Isofrax 1400 is growing, including some examples showing furnaces operating at 1260 degrees Celsius and beyond. And now, just a comment about thermal conductivity. The thermal conductivity of the new product is comparable with that of Isofrax 1260. To repeat what has been mentioned earlier, the new Isofrax product is a real alternative to 1400 grade RCF AZS insulation in high temperature applications. If we look at the chart, when comparing heat flow measurements of blanket and modules in various scenarios, one can see from the hot face and the cold face temperatures that the performance of Isofrax 1400 is almost comparable with that of RCF AZS insulation in both blanket and module formats. Unifrax now offers the broadest range of in-house manufactured high-temperature insulation wool products in the world, including Fiberfrax, our refractory ceramic fiber, otherwise known as aluminosilica wool, Insulfrax and Isofrax, our alkaline earth silicate range of low biopersistent materials, and Safil, our range of high-temperature polycrystalline fibers. And now, just a final recap. Some major points to remember from the webcast today are as follows. Isofrax 1400 has a classification temperature of 1400 degrees Celsius. The new product also has a higher maximum use limit of 1300 degrees Celsius. Isofrax blanket and module products now offer our customers the first available and true alternative to 1400 grade RCF AZS thermal insulation. Unifrax products are available on a global basis. We have manufacturing plants, sales offices and application engineering teams around the world, ready to support you in providing thermal management solutions today and into the future. Thank you for listening, and I would now like to pass you back to Deb Myers.
Thank you, Chris. We do have time to take just a few questions today from our audience, starting with a question that's come into the Q&A tool. I'm going to go ahead and read that first question. Over the years, many LBP offerings have been introduced to the marketplace by different manufacturers with many different performance benefits. Relative to competitive products, what are the unique technical properties of Isofrax 1400, which are the basis for Unifrax's confidence and claims for the product? Jane, would you like to take this first question from our audience?
Sure, Deb, no problem. That's a great question. When you select a fiber for your engineered furnace lining, you should really consider all of the product properties. So you want to look at the whole picture. You want to look at things like the material use limit, the tensile strength of the material, the insulating value, of course the expected shrinkage, but also the fiber strength and the integrity after it's been fired, as we discussed earlier. I would say that the uniqueness of this product is that all of these properties kind of come together to dictate the expected performance of your furnace lining. So taking all these factors under consideration, the Isofrax 1400 is the best LBP fiber currently on the market. Other competitive products might look to be superior relative to a single performance aspect, such as shrinkage alone or thermal conductivity. But all of these variables are evaluated. The competitive product may potentially have some significant shortcomings. If you think about it, if there's just one of those properties, you have to really look at them all together and look at other areas like strength or fired integrity of the blankets and modules. So again, the advantage that we can offer is that we take all of these properties into consideration, and it really will offer you the best material for your furnace lining.
Great, thanks, Jane. Our second question from the audience asks, where can I find more information about health and safety and handling guidelines for Isofrax 1400? Chris, can you answer this one for us for our audience, please?
Sure, Deb. The launch pack of information will include a question and answer document related to the health and safety and handling guidelines. However, detailed information will also be available in the safety data sheets for the new products. And finally, I would like to add that we have a team of experts around the world that can provide further information and support if needed, and these people can be accessed via your regional sales team.
Great, thanks, Chris. For our audience attending the webinar today or listening to a recorded replay later, if you do have additional questions, please feel free to type them into the tool or reach out to our speakers directly. I will share their email addresses on the next page. Before wrapping up our virtual event today, we promised to make this more interactive and would like to push out a poll to give you the chance to give us some feedback. The question is, did you find this webcast tool and experience helpful today to learn about Isofrax 1400 insulation? If you would, please answer by selecting one of the 3 answers on your screen, and we'll pause for just a minute to allow you time to answer. Great, thanks very much for participating in that poll. This brings us to the close of our webinar. To learn more about Unifrax and Isofrax 1400, please visit our website, unifrax.com. You can see some of the additional information and materials that are available to you as part of our product launch today. I want to thank both of our speakers, Jane Webb and Chris McMahon, for joining me today. And we also want to take the time to thank our Unifrax distributors and customers again for taking the time to join us and listen to this virtual event with us today. On behalf of Unifrax, this is Deb Myers signing off. See you next time.